to Crypto Moonshots. So yesterday we were talking about Bepro and we were saying how, it's kind of nearing the end of this trend line. And when it nears the end, I've been talking about in my previous videos that it either shoots up or down, right? And when it does that, when it goes towards the end of a trend line, it tends to make major moves. So as we saw, it came down around 20%, right? So basically I was saying that if it goes below this level of 0.019, right, or 0.018, if we draw a line right there, okay, I said that I'm selling, and I ended up selling because, I had a feeling that if it breaks that line, and you can watch the video if you want, but I said that if it breaks that line, I think it's going to come down, right? And then if we look here, it held at 0.015, okay, and this line of support is drawn based off this massive bull run it went on, okay. And if we go on the 2 hour, you can kind of see better. I apologize for moving the graph so much, but and we could draw lines here. We could maybe use that as one, right, and then maybe use that as one, and then use that as one. So we can draw a bunch of lines there, but the point is that these lines that we're going to draw are not going to be that strong because this was a very parabolic move it made. So when it does a parabolic move, these support levels are not going to be that strong. For example, if we look here, this support level was pretty strong because it tested it once right there, twice, 3 times right there, and it tested it multiple times, right? So we knew that's a strong level of support. Same with resistance. This just means that it gets proven and proven again. But these lines that if we draw down here, and we could draw like a bunch of them if you want to, but the point is it's not going to be that strong, right? Like obviously, like if we look, that lines up with where let me go back to the 4 hour. That lines up with where the line of support was previously, the 0.015 level. But again, I basically sold right here, right? Because I don't want to be a bag holder when it just comes down so much in price. And a lot of people in the comments, or there was 1 or 2 comments that I wanted to address. They're talking about how, you got to believe in this thing long term. And yeah, obviously I believe in this long term, but I'm trying to maximize my profits. And I think the way to do that is to look at technical analysis, see what it's telling us. And it's telling us that if it breaks that trend line, it's looking negative, right? And it's also telling us that this level of support has only been tested once during a parabolic move, right? That's what it's telling us, that we got to go based off the facts, right? So for it to come down, to hold all this much is a terrible idea because you're losing out on this amount of money. That doesn't mean, by me selling, that doesn't mean I don't believe in the project. That just means I want it to crash so I can buy more, right? So I can maximize my profits. Now, anything can happen at this point, right? Because, again, we're kind of in uncharted territory. Sure, this could be a line that gets established, this 0.015, right? And then, like I said, there's a bunch of other lines that we can draw if we really wanted to. For example, there's one at 0.014-ish, right? We can draw that. And then there's one right there, okay? And then there's one right there, right? So we can draw a bunch of these weak lines, but again, that's not the point, right? And if you want to look into that here, I could just leave it up for you guys. But basically, again, I love this project, and I know a lot of people watching this video love this project, right? But I don't want you guys to lose money, so you guys are just got to be, just keep a close eye on it, right? If it crosses this line, that's a really bad idea, or something bad is going to happen, okay? If it crosses that 0.015, 0.014, because the next level down is right here, and then, again, that's not really been supported, and then, we're back to kind of the beginning, okay? So just be careful. Something that could happen is it could consolidate here, and then hopefully we go back to these levels, right? But, I mean, the bears have just been, very, very strong. I mean, if we take the top here to the bottom, that's around a 53% correction, you know, from a correction, because it already did correct, right? So if we take the peak to where we're at right now, that's around a 70% correction, okay? So we're kind of going back to where we started. That's what the trend is looking like. And let's look at the trend lines here. So I told you guys in my previous videos that, let me get rid of these, that you always want to adjust your trend lines, right? So the ones before don't really apply anymore. So let's do that. And then let's bring this here to the top of the swing high, right? So again, this trend line kind of collaborates with this level of support. So if it breaks through this trend line, right, again, it's going to come down even more, okay? So what we want to happen, right, and normally the first time that something touches the level of support, like I told you guys before, right here, the first time that it touches, it normally bounces up, right? So if we look at the 2 hour, for example, or like the 1 hour, or the 15 minute, see, it's kind of bouncing. So it touched, right, and it bounced back up, and as you can see, the trend line is holding that as resistance. But this is just, even in the 15 minute, it's looking bearish to me, because that's a swing high, that's a lower swing high, right? It's a lower swing high, you know. If this is a swing high, that's a lower swing high. So it's looking very bearish at the moment. I would be very careful with it. Again, if you're holding this for like 6 months, that's an investment, right? But we're kind of like not day traders, but we're looking to maximize our profits, you know, within like, you know, 1 week, 2 week, 5 day time frames, right? And I think that if it drops below this line, if you haven't sold, obviously I think there's a possibility that it could come up here, right, and then consolidate there. But if it breaks through that line, like I told you guys yesterday, if it breaks through that line, we're coming down, and we did. If it breaks through this line, we're going to come down even more, you know. Again, there's a bunch of weak lines you can draw, but I think that, you know, these lines don't really have that much standing and depth for it to really count. So yeah, I think you just got to keep an eye on it, and I think that it's looking bearish at the moment. So yeah, just keep an eye on it, and if it dips below the 0.15, 0.14, what I would do is I would sell, but I'm not telling you to do anything. So that I'm just telling you what I would do. I told you guys I would sell if it came down, and I did. And I can't wait to buy back in, because I love this project. I want to see it grow. You know, I love the community. So I'm going to buy back in massively. I'm just waiting for it to stabilize and find a solid level of support before I buy back in. So that's just my opinion. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.